Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was going to make it. Roll call, Peggy.
Dr. Fike?
Here.
Mr. Frund?
Here.
Mrs. Geyer?
Here.
Mr. Liza?
Here.
Mrs. O'Rear? Mr. Polakowski?
Here.
Mr. Shipley?
Here.
Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Williams?
Here. I just wanted to announce that we were in executive session prior to this meeting for some personnel matters. Mrs. O'Rear asked to be excused from the beginning of the meeting, so she may be a little bit late, and Mrs. Smith as well. Do we have any citizens' comments?
No.
Okay. Meeting minutes?
I need a motion to add meeting minutes to the 11/17/2022 voting meeting.
So move. Second.
These are the minutes of October 13th and October 20th.
Reports.
Superintendent's information.
Okay, I just have a couple items today. Wanted to give the board an update about the work we've been doing with branding. I will say that we've started to progress with using the proper shade of Scotty Red. I'll tell you that if you go to Sherwin-Williams now in Mount Pleasant and you ask for Scotty Red, it is the correct Scotty Red, so no matter who says it or who wants it, it's all the same color. I will say that some of our students have already begun to use this color in some of our buildings so that we have a standardized process. I know that Dr. Claire and I are going to begin working on the new district letterheads and official notifications that go out to make sure it's the right logo in terms of our academic crest and the right font face for everybody. I've been working with Mr. Smithula to update the website, and as part of that, once we do get some of the logo work done, that will be updated online so that anybody who needs it can use it and make sure that is the correct logo and not something that somebody's brother or sister made along the way. Adding that last week I attended the PASA PSBA conference on the eastern side of the state. I attended some sessions relating to the management of board meetings related to cybersecurity issues and related to some security issues in the buildings. And I will say that there was a lengthy presentation from the state regarding teasers and new management that's going on with that. Quick update about the library updates in the middle school and the high school. Most, if not all, of the furniture has been delivered here to the middle school. If you go into it, you'll see a nice big TV that students will begin using in their classes in terms of presenting projects, and new furniture that is movable and has a surface on top where they can write like a whiteboard as they're doing their classes and their classwork, which is pretty neat for middle school. In terms of the high school, we are still waiting on some furniture. I know that some other furniture came in either today or yesterday. We have most of the space cleared out. The projectors are mounted in the high school library. We have a wall graphic that is being designed to be added to it for a backdrop for signings, as well as the paint ready to go in that room. I know that Mr. Trader in our maintenance department has moved some appliances to the high school library area for our life skills kids to base their coffee shop out of that area as a student union. And the work is continuing in that regard. The laptops are all ordered, installed, ready to go for students to work, and attached to some of the poster printers and laser printers that have ordered and have come in. I'll add that we have several CWCTC students that are working on some projects in the district. You may have seen a picture of some of our students installing some block letters on the softball dugouts that were created at CWCTC that says Southmoreland, real nice. And also they are working currently in the third floor at the high school on a couple projects specifically in my office, in Dr. Claire's office, and a media booth that we are preparing for the high school gymnasium. That was essentially a storage room that is being converted into a media room for anybody who comes in to call a game or to get video. We're making a nice area for that purpose, and we thought that it was a good project for students to be working on because it's great hands-on, real-world experience. So shout out to the CWCTC students who are working on that. I have an item here about the 21-22 state assessment data release. Finally, the state assessment growth scores have been released to districts as of last week. I wanted to let the board know that we have all the data we need to prepare a data presentation, and we will prepare a short 5 to 10 minute presentation of the spring assessments, both the state assessments and AP assessments at the December reorganization meeting. And then last but not least, I just wanted to give a shout out to the middle school mock trial team who went and competed against, I want to believe, 5 different middle schools and ended up in first place, which was awesome. As well as we had a food drive at the high school that was kind of organized by one of our student groups and the athletic department. I want to say the amount of food that they brought in and gave to the Westmoreland County Food Bank was somewhere around 500 to 600 meals worth. And finally, all the fall sports have finished, successful seasons, and right now we are prepping for our winter concerts, and the musical is gearing up. That's going to happen in the spring, and our winter sports are kind of gearing up and starting the practices. That's all I have.
Did you say you'll give us the scores at that reorganization
Yes.
meeting? Because there's only one in December.
Correct.
Thank you. Solicitor's information.
I do not have a report for the public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Business manager, transportation director information.
I have a little something. Last month, as you know, you all approved the projects for the high school roof, capital projects, and so therefore I contacted PFM. They developed an RFP for bank loan responses for the funding of this, because obviously we need to find someone to pay that. Those did come in actually yesterday. And I had a Zoom call conference today with members of PFM as well as Cliff Pastel, our bond counsel. And the person that they had decided that it's most advantageous for us to award the loan to is Truist. They have a fixed rate of 4.34%. Bank fees are minimal at $4,500. The term is through maturity. I can tell you that obviously right now the market rate with interest rates is very volatile. One of the highest bid that came in was actually at 6%, and that was only for a term of 5 years, whereas this Truist is 4.34 for 9 years. So that's the exact term that we were looking for. So I was very happy to see that come in. And I'm also started to work on next year's budget. So that's all for me today.
Thank you.
On to policies.
Discussion on policy 201, admission of students. Is there any discussion on this?
I have a question. According to this, when you're 5 years old, you can go to first grade, right?
6.
Okay. The beginners are students entering the lowest level of the primary school above the kindergarten level. So that's first grade, right? Above the kindergarten level.
Right.
The board establishes that entry age for beginning is 5 years in accordance with regulations. That's above the kindergarten level. So a 5-year-old goes to first grade if they want to, or if they're allowed, or whatever, right?
I'm pulling it up right now, Dr. Fike.
The board may admit as a beginner a child who is 5 years old demonstrates readiness for entry upon written request of the parent, psychologist, superintendent.
board is not required to admit as a beginner any child whose age is less than the district's established age for beginners. But it says a beginner is defined as a student entering the lowest grade of the primary school above the kindergarten level, so that's first grade.
So what's super interesting about this is, so our policy was changed, and whoever the person was that entered this policy, this isn't what the last policy that we voted on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle, it's...
No, I'm not denying that. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I'm just getting
But we literally voted on a policy that changed this to, you had to be 5 by June 30th, June 1st.
June 1st.
So literally, we voted on a policy.
Well, but it says
The
here-
person that should have updated this policy did not update this.
It says here, the authority is all these legal things, that these PA code, all that. The authority, the board shall establish age requirements for the admission of students to first grade and to kindergarten that are consistent with state law and regulations. If we are required to honor these state laws and regulations, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, apparently this is what it says. I'm just going by what I was given, Michelle. It says that
It says last revised
we're required to do that.
January 20th, 2022. Yeah, we're required to do it. But this,
That's not the policy. The actual policy is, for whatever reason, was placed down in the retired. It should be reversed. That one should be,
so
But we have to follow the state regs, right?
we have
Is
to
that right,
follow this.
Attorney?
follow the
Right,
right.
we have to follow the state regs. So
And that's what this is.
That's some discussion that we want to have right
Yeah.
now. That we voted as a board to take this date to June 1st.
Well, that doesn't,
We voted on that
That's the
on
wrong one.
January 20th, 2022.
this is wrong, Peggy.
Yes.
So that is wrong, even though that is what's in our policies.
This is wrong. It says,
Yes.
this paper I have is wrong.
That's correct, that's wrong.
That should have been a retired one, even though
I didn't do, well, wait a
Where's
minute.
the one we're supposed to
The
vote on?
retired one does say the 5 years on or before September 1st.
Okay, wait a minute. So this says kindergarten under 2021, if you scroll down, it's saying that we're saying 5 by June 1st. However, when we changed this, we were under the impression that every district in the county was moving towards this. We are the only district in the county that is doing this. So also, if you go back to school code says, do you remember what that said exactly?
Oh, I can find it.
School code basically would allow them to skip.
School code basically says that if, in this case, if we have June 1st as the deadline date, and a student then,
For who?
for kids,
For who? Which kid? Kindergarten or
any
first
kid
grade?
who enrolls into the district.
Kindergarten or first grade?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It has to
It matters with age. So if you have a kid who is not 5 by June 1st, and we do not allow them to enroll into our district until the following year, they will then be 6 when they start school, which makes them eligible to essentially skip kindergarten.
Well, where's the new policy then?
I'll have to print it out and send it to you. That's
I
that
don't
should
see
have
it
been the
attached
retired.
either. Like, I don't know.
So if you go to 201, it says beginners first grade. This is what it says. Our students entering the lowest grade of the primary school above kindergarten level, the board establishes the district entry age for beginners as 5 years old by September 1st in accordance with the state law and regulations. The board may admit as a beginner a child who is 5 years old and demonstrates readiness for entry at the first day of the school term upon written request of the parent guardian,
Kindergarten?
so on and so
First
forth.
grade? No, this is okay.
Then it says kindergarten. The board establishes the district's entry age for kindergarten as 5 years old by September 1st. or the current school term in accordance with the law and regulations. Beginning the 2023 school year, the board establishes the district's entry age for kindergarten is 5 years old by June 1st. So, however, if you go back to school code, other districts did studies of what would happen if you did this, and this was one of the issues that they came up with. If you're trying to get children to enter kindergarten more ready, and you change the date to June 1st, and that eliminates kids, those kids that you might have been concerned weren't ready will now be able to enter first grade, regardless of if they've gone to kindergarten or not, because by the start of your first day, they will be 6. So therefore, school code would supersede.
Well, the way this reads, it
Supersede
looks
us.
like as long as you're 5, you don't have to go to kindergarten. You can
Exactly
just go to
what's on
first
there.
grade. Is that what it's pretty much saying right now?
What was that? I'm sorry.
It's pretty much now looks like, well, if you're not 5 by June 1st, you can't go to kindergarten, but you can go to first grade. That's fine.
That's
Well,
basically.
school code, you don't have to go to kindergarten.
Right, but like what
You
we're
can go
saying
just to
is,
first grade. Yeah,
we're
that's
going to let
correct.
you go to first grade, but we're not going to let you go to
So
kindergarten.
yes, if you read our policy.
Yes.
Our policy was not changed or was
Yeah.
not written well, but basically says you could go to first grade, 5 years old.
Attorney,
By
what's
September
on the
1st.
books? What's on the books? What's this? What's
This is what's on our books right now,
in Pennsylvania?
in our books.
No, I'm talking about Pennsylvania, because it says you will
Pennsylvania says-
be consistent with state law.
Right.
So my
So
question
state
is,
law
what's the
says
state law?
you cannot be 4 years old and start kindergarten. That's
You
what
have
state
to-
law says.
You have to start school by 6.
Yes.
Correct.
You cannot be 4. You have to start school by 6. There, in the county, we have some schools that say you have to be 5 by the first day of school. Some say August 15th, some say August 1st.
This is September.
So what is the recommendation here,
Yeah.
Dr. Bain?
Well, the recommendation is if the board is willing to have a discussion on it and hear a change to the policy, I wanted to see if the board wanted to hear a change to the policy.
Yes.
The recommendation would be to change the policy's deadline date to come in line with all of our peers in the county to an August deadline of either the 15th, 30th, first day of school, whatever the board chooses, what that option is, based upon the data that I would show you.
And I think we have to change it regardless because of how the policy is worded.
Yeah, the policy needs
So-
to change, period.
Yes.
I would be in favor of that.
I'm in
Same.
favor of whatever our teachers are recommending to us and what you're recommending is best, so that's fine.
But I think the way that the school code is written, it supersedes what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you are concerned with unprepared children coming in, they can come in anyway and start at the same grade as their peers, regardless, and they miss our entire year of kindergarten.
It's null and void. You're not doing anything to help.
So is it the will of the board to allow this policy to be rewritten to be, so that we could vote on it next week?
Will somebody please help me with this line? Beginners are students entering the lowest grade of the primary school above the kindergarten level. So that's first grade. Am I right?
According to school code, I believe.
Yes.
So you can go to school when you're 5. You can be in first grade when you're 5, under certain circumstances and so forth and so on. Because they keep using the word beginners. They keep defining everything as a beginner, not just a student, but a beginner is what it says on here. I'm just going by what's on this paper.
Right. The definition of beginner in the school code under 1304, the term beginner shall mean any child that should enter the lowest grade of the primary school or the lowest primary class above the kindergarten
Above
level.
kindergarten.
So
Okay,
the
that-
lowest grade, which our lowest grade is kindergarten, some people don't offer kindergarten.
No,
So-
it's not mandatory.
Right. So it's either whatever your lowest grade is or
First grade.
the first one above kindergarten, which will be first
I
grade.
don't think, Christy, I think
And that's what
it's-
I just pulled up on
in
school
the
code
state
here
of
too.
Pennsylvania, though, if you're a beginner, you are this thing. You are this thing. I think
she
it's
just
important
read
for
it.
parents to
Just
know
read it.
this.
Yeah. School brought instead of the policy, we'll pull the school code. Term beginner is any child that should enter the lowest grade of the primary school or the lowest primary class above the kindergarten level.
Yeah.
Further, it says the Board of School Directors shall permit a child of beginner's age to attend the district's first grade and may not require the child to attend kindergarten, pre-first grade, transitional class or other grade or class that is not regular first grade without parental consent. So we just need to decide what age we want them to be when they come in.
Is there something in there about 5 years and 7 months?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
very,
5 years and 7 months before September
Yes.
1st.
Yes,
very random.
it is.
So are we okay with going back to where we were before, which would be, do you
No.
want to use the,
That does not go along with what you're
So-
saying. Consistent with state law and regulations.
Yes.
We must be consistent.
Brian, are you okay with going
think we
back to where
are.
we were before? Not this, it would
That's
be
from
going
state
back
law.
to, is your recommendation August 15th or August 30th? Or is it the first day of school?
I'm not, I need to speak with my staff to determine what that date is, but I'll have that for next week.
I would just say the first day of school would be ever-changing. So you could have people say, well, last year,
I'd rather
they could
be
be
the
5 by
hard
August
Hard date.
26th
That's why
this year.
district said
Yeah.
went to a hard date is to
I
stop
don't
that.
think-
You may have one kid who's older than
Right.
another kid based upon your start
Right.
of school.
Yeah, I don't like the start of school
So I
date.
just want to make sure that we're all okay with Dr. Boone coming back to us with a recommendation of a date.
I like the
Are you
recommendation.
okay with Mrs. Dyer?
Yes.
Mr. Friend?
Yes. Yes, to make
Yes.
a recommendation.
Dr. Fike?
No, I think the statement is consistent with the state rules and regulations, and that's all I care about.
What is consistent with that?
It says that the board will establish requirements consistent with state law and regulations. So whatever those are, is what I think we're legally obligated to adopt.
Yes, and we did look at this, Dr. Fike, with Mr. Masha, and the state recommends between this age, the board decides when, and that's what the state says. So this is written by the state. This whole policy comes right from state code. You're saying when your start date is. It can't be when you're 4. That's what the state's saying, and it can't be after 6.
State says 4 years, 7 months.
Yes. So it has to be in that range.
give it-
They're saying you pick that. Everything else in the state policy is directly on that policy, because I worked on it. We just pick the date.
Well, then this is correct, what I have
Yes.
in my hands.
Yeah.
Could be.
As long as what we adopt is what I have in my hands, I'm okay with that.
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're going to adopt something.
We're gonna,
I mean,
We're just going to change
we're
the
gonna
date,
change the date.
but it's all the same stuff.
because right now you have to be 5 by June 30th. We're kicking
June
it back.
1st.
June 1st.
June 1st. Now we're gonna say you have to be 5 by September 1st or August 15th.
And that applies to first grade.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
Whatever your definition, your school's beginner is, and ours would be kindergarten, because that's what our school offers, and that's what the state code says.
Why does it say then above the lowest level? Above the
It says
kindergarten? Is it the
or.
words above the kindergarten level? Those are the words, above the kindergarten level.
Yes.
Christie, that, you can't just change that and say no.
But
I
it
think the word
says-
"or" is missing.
It's, the word in the state code is kindergarten or what you just said. That's what's in state code. They might have left that out of that actual policy, but that's what state code actually says.
Yes.
I think this
Because
is very
kindergarten
important.
is
This
optional.
very important.
Yeah, I have it, I brought up the state code right on my laptop here, and that's what it says.
There
It's
is
so
an
much
or.
easier.
Yes, there is an
Why
or.
don't we just all get a
Department of
copy of this?
Education and find out what the heck is going on.
Yeah, I have it here.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
have it
if we got
printed.
bad information over here or anything.
Dr. Boone,
just
can you get her a
contact
copy of the
Department
state code
Education
so she can
and
see what that is? Okay. I think we're all good with that, so let's move on.
Sorry, just.
Did we have a summary on-
Watching Gracie do it.
So I need a motion to add this policy item to the 11/17/2022 voting agenda meeting. Do I have a motion?
You don't want to wait until he comes up with his
It
recommendation?
needs to be on the agenda next week. If I don't have a motion here, it doesn't get on next month's agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Mrs. Geyer, thank you. In order for us to vote on this next meeting, it has to be on the agenda. So we'll be adding this item with the change in the correct date that's being recommended.
All right, on to personnel.
Personnel, we have two items, the personnel log for 11/17/2022 and the musical staff. Is there any questions or concerns on either of these items? And I need a motion to add personnel items 1 to 2 on the 11/17/2022 voting agenda.
So moved.
Education.
So we have three items, 2022-2023 school calendar revision, e-signature resolution revision, and e-academy contract change. Would you like to give some information on?
Yeah, sure. The school calendar revision is for a couple of reasons. We had teacher in service scheduled for January 2nd, which is an observed holiday, so we needed to make that change. Additionally, as I was having a principal meeting this week, it came to light that the district did not fully submit our flexible instruction days application this past summer. So in the event that there is inclement weather, we needed to have possible snow makeup days built into the school calendar. So that is a change to this. And additionally, we had an in-service day that was placed at the very end of the school year after a teacher clerical day. And we wanted to make that change to the beginning of May so we could kind of facilitate a teacher celebration of goals based upon our work for the year with several UDL principals. So we're developing a kind of a different Act 80 day for that in-service day that our teachers can kind of choose areas to go to and see examples of some of the good stuff that's going on that they're doing in the classroom this year.
Once we approve this, will it get sent home with all of the students?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I think it's really important to know because people plan vacations over Easter
Yeah.
thinking we're not going to have to worry about
Making a
snow
mistake.
days because that's what was sent out to everybody. It could be an issue for some people. We might have to have some
We're not
leniency.
just going to like post it on the website, but that it actually goes home with.
We can make sure that every student goes home with a printed copy.
The e-signature resolution, that's just a revision. Who did we have that was signing that before?
Both you and I were on it, and PD basically came back to us and said the only person that is eligible to do any kind of e-signature for the district is the superintendent or anybody acting in that capacity.
So that will be fixed. And then the e-academy contract change, it's your recommendation to change this?
Correct. My recommendation would be to change the one-year agreement at $18,000 a year to a three-year agreement at $16,000 a year, saving the district money. And furthermore, I'd like to explore ways for our district to start recouping some of that e-academy money back by creating our own cyber courses.
Is there any further discussion on these items? I need a motion to add education items 1 through 3 to the 11/17/2022 voting agenda meeting. Mr. Lisner.
Okay, finance?
Monthly board, we have, 5 items. Monthly board treasurer's report, general fund board summary report, accounting and food service check summary listing, engagement letter for bond counsel, debt resolutions, general obligation notes 2022. Any questions, concerns, or more information there?
The engagement letter is basically so that Cliff Pastel can represent us. The debt resolution is what I spoke about earlier in regard to the RFPs that came in from the banks, and so that we could fund the high school roof project as well as the other capital projects that were voted on and approved last month.
Does anybody have any questions?
What does this bond council do?
What do they do? They basically serve as our attorney in the borrowing process. They make sure that all of the proper paperwork is signed for us to take on additional debt.
What's the cost?
Scope of services,
I only see one
not
for
to
legal.
exceed $2,000.
It says for legal
That's
notices.
for the notices.
This 2,000. Is 2,000 the entire fee for
No, it's
Dinsmore?
$15,000.
No, there will be,
And the reason I'm asking this question, I've sat on this board and I've watched hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars paid out to these kinds of people. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm just curious as to what this one is. How much this one's worth.
Just said $15,000.
How much?
15,
15,000?
15,000.
So I know that the last time we did this, Mr. Patonic did it, who was already our,
Yeah,
yes, he did. He did the bond 100%.
he did.
We hired,
Yeah, our firm does not act as bond counsel.
Okay,
he did not either. Is this to hire Cliff Pastel?
correct.
He did our last one.
Mr. Patonic has done that in the past.
There are
For us,
some
yes.
general solicitors that will act as
Several
bond
times.
Yes.
counsel,
We did hire
Honestly.
Cliff Pastel.
but we're not comfortable.
I understand, but Mr. Patonic has done it in the past, so I just wanted to make sure our current legal people did not do it.
Do not.
So when you sign this paper, where's the $15,000 thing? Am I missing it?
Yeah, it's in there.
If you have the paper in front of you,
Same paragraph as the 2,000.
it's on the
Well, that's for-
second
It's on
page.
under fees.
Under fees.
Oh, yeah, first paragraph under fees.
I would like to offer a fee of $15,000 for a single note or a bond
Where
issue.
is that?
Under fees.
Page under fees.
Yeah, right under
Page
number
2.
8, right after number 8.
Okay, so that's for a single note or bond issue. Okay, and we're only doing one. So this whole thing will cost us $17,000 and not one penny more. Is that right?
To Dinsmore, yes.
To Dinsmore, that is correct.
17,000. So when we vote, that's all they get.
Well, there will be other fees associated with the borrowing that
That would
are,
be the only money that Dinsmore gets.
Yeah, but they don't get that money.
but that will be, yeah, this is just what Dinsmore will get. There are also bank fees that will be associated.
Advertising and all that.
And then you also, correct, you also have your advertisement fees.
What's this going to cost, Pam?
Well, if you look at 17,000 plus the 4,500 for the bank fees for Truist, plus advertising fees, less than, around $25,000. I mean, unfortunately, it's something that legally we're bound in which to do, to borrow funds.
Are there any other questions or discussion on any of these items?
It looks like the, what is it, building activity fund information changed the format that you're showing it.
Can we wait till we get there? I'm not
Oh,
there
I
yet.
thought you meant,
No, I'm just talking items 1 through 5.
oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Okay, so I need a motion to add finance items 1 through 5 to the 11/17/2022 voting agenda meeting.
So moved.
Thank you.
So moved. Go ahead.
Okay, so for informational purposes, item number 7, the building activity fund information. You're saying the format changed?
It looks like, yeah, because before we would get like the high school activity fund had this much for student council, this much for, and now it's just
Oh, yeah.
like the bank statement.
Well, there's a bank statement and there's also,
Yeah, but it doesn't say like student council has this much.
correct, and I can get her to get me that information for next
I think
week.
they're all different, like the SMS one. just shows like the expenses, I guess. I don't know. I just thought it was weird that it changed all of a sudden into a different format than what we had been seeing.
I can definitely
The
work.
SES one looks like what we had been getting. That's the only one that looks normal. Where it says like, okay, student council has $19,000, Puppy Pound
Are
has.
we able to change that back?
Yeah, I can talk with the ladies that handle it and get it back for you, certainly.
And then number 8 is cyber charter expense analysis, also just for informational purposes. Any questions?
I have a question about that, Pam. What was, at the end of the 21-22 fiscal year,
What
how
was
much did we pay
for cyber charter?
for cyber charter? What was the total number?
Give me 1 second to pull up CSIU. Okay, the report's generating. Give me 1 second here.
Okay.
I should have it. In total, we spent $1,485,353.72. We had budgeted last year $1,417,000 for cyber charter, so we were over $68,353.72.
So what do we have budgeted for this year? The 1515? The 1515?
1517.
1515.
Okay. The 1515.
Yeah. So you expect it to go up or not?
I budgeted it for it to go up for this fiscal year, yes. Because we spent the one, oh, I was on 6. Yeah, the one for,
1485.
I didn't write it down because I was looking at the report.
It was
We spent, yeah.
$1,405,300.
So I expected it to go up some. It is my hope that it doesn't go any higher than that, but, you know,
So through the end of September, we've spent $294,252. Is that right?
that is correct.
That's what we've spent so far, and that's roughly 19% of the budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
How's that look when you project it? Is it going to be okay?
I haven't projected it out. Let me do that for you for next month, for next week, and I'll project it out. I'll annualize the figure for what we have the expense.
And all our bills are paid from last year, right?
That is correct.
So that number's final.
That is correct, yes.
Any other discussion on those 2 items? Okay.
Buildings and grounds.
So I have 3 items under this agenda item. Number 1 is Brightly Solutions Management Software, high school alarm and training, RTU electrical change order. Is there any discussion on these? Okay, I need a motion to add buildings and grounds items 1 through 3 to the 11/17/2022 voting agenda.
So moved.
And then athletics and activities, we have no items for this month. Citizens' comments.
I have one here. Dr. Catherine Fike.
I am speaking as a citizen, not as a school board member. My name is Catherine Fike, and I live in Roughdale, PA. I want to speak about the latest social demands regarding COVID. Now they are demanding that we engage in amnesty. The word amnesty comes from the Greek word for amnesia, which means forget. Let's just forget about what happened and what we did to our children. As a school board, I think we owe our students, families, and community a profound apology for the damage that has been done to our children. Based on what we now know were lies and misinformation, closing our schools is now regarded as the most devastating mistake that was made. Latest projections are the student learning will not become appropriate until approximately 2026. Now, my concern is, are we going to buy into another set of Levine, Fauci, Walensky pandemic lies? The newest research shows that COVID vaccinations were not only worthless, but they are damaging to the human immune system and the heart. New research clearly shows that masking mandates were severely damaging to our children, to their health, welfare, and development. At Southmoreland, we suspended a 5-year-old boy for taking off his mask. Latest research also shows that achievement levels are the highest in charter schools, religious schools, and private schools, many of which did not close for a single day. The scores are the lowest at the lowest levels in the public education system. My concern is that here in Southmoreland, we have given over $8.2 million in retirement gifts, paying people not to teach. We paid $790,000, something like that, to put a roof on a building which we do not need, considering we have nearly 1,000 empty seats. While all this is happening, our property taxes continually were raised. Every school board member has an agenda, and I have one, and that's student achievement. I will now close with a very famous quote from the Nuremberg trials. When the offenders were asked why they destroyed people, their answer was, "I was just following the orders." Only people who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. I hope that all of us have learned the truth about what has happened to our children, and they deserve an apology.
Is there any other citizen comments? Need a motion to adjourn?
I'll
I'll
move.
move. Second.
All those in favor? I just need the board to stay for 5 minutes.